Hello, and welcome to another edition of Brand Dialogues by TRA Research. At TRA, we study brands through the lens of trust and desire, combination of which creates long-term buying intent for the brand. Behind every strong brand score is a set of everyday decisions made by the brand custodians. Today, we are speaking with Preetham Srinivas, marketing lead at Beardo, a brand that has carved out a distinctive space in the men's grooming category through a clear voice, cultural sharpness, and disciplined execution. This conversation explores how Beardo thinks about brand building, relevance, and growth in a crowded, fast moving category. Hi, Preetham. It's a pleasure to be in your office in Bombay today. And I'm glad here because we can discuss a lot of things about Beardo. But most importantly, Beardo has made it, or one of your brands, Godfather, has made it as the top of the list in perfumes brand, and that's a really significant achievement. And last year there was a different brand of yours that came in the beard wax, and this time there's been a 500 plus rank climb. So my first question to you is, why do you think this has happened to your brand when the space you were perhaps one of the first starters in this particular area? But soon after, there were many others which came in. Today, it's a crowded market, but you still managed to stand out in a crowded place where there is so many perfume brands around.
Correct. I think we were one of the first few to sort of enter into the space back in 2015. I think what works for us is probably how we've maintained the DNA of what the brand is, and it remained consistent through all these years. We haven't been we're not a brand that keeps jumping from trend to trend or just trying to wrap whatever is the most trending one right now. So I think that consistency in who we are is probably what is remaining consistent with our consumers and sort of accepted by them as well. Another thing.
So, who is your consumer? Can you identify them exactly by demographics, by psychographics?
I think 18 to 24 is probably our bulls. 18 to 24 males, urban, and even now in tier 2 as well is an evolving market for us. I think that is predominantly our bullseye target. But we're not limited to this. We're not limited to just an 18 to 24. We have consumers in 30 plus as well, depending on the kind of categories that you're present in. But predominantly for fragrances, it is an 18 24 bullseye nut.
Right? But your other brands would have much more larger purview.
Correct. So beard category is a slightly older target segment. Beard color, etc., is for us very old, 30, 35 plus.
Sure.
Because that's when graying or any other issues do come up. So I think depending on the category, it's quite diverse. Our TG is quite a dynamic one.
That's right. So, desire is about aspiration, desire is about consistent and very evocative communication. It's also about rationale. It's the logic that makes you buy. That's also there. And you have an emotion at the back of it. All these together build in desire. So, what do you focus on? All these, do you have a specific idea? What does desire mean for the brand Beardo?
Sure. That I think is at the core of what has made brand Beardo. I think personal care is not an essential. It's a vanity category, right? As in, it's not essential to your daily lifestyle, but you do need it. With more disposable income, you want better brands, and that's the kind of adoption. Now, I think what we've stayed true with the brand is to be an aspirational brand, get the imagery right. I mean, we've built products, we've built better products and packaging, etc., over the years. But what we've started off with was the imagery of being alpha, rebellious, a kind of a imagery that sort of sparks aspiration. I think from our consumers. I think it's the age is that for that particular TG sort of want to be they're just stepping out of home, right? I mean, they just started working or they just started studying, and that imagery sort of appeals to them. And we've stayed consistent through all these years to sort of keep up that imagery that no matter what, Beardo stands for a particular type of person or a particular type of man. And even in that, then that's also true in the kind of people that we've chosen. I think be it with Yash, Vicky Kaushal, Hrithik Roshan, and now Bobby Deol. I think they've maintained that we choose men of a certain stature who are aspirational, and that seems to have worked for us.
It seems to be a testosterone built brand. Yes, seems to be that. Lots of it. So what of that do you think is, of course, the sexiness must be there, otherwise it doesn't really come in as that aspirational category. But what more do you add into it that makes it this, full of testosterone? I want to see, I want to be. It also a lot of spunky stuff like your beardo, that kind of stuff happening. So everything around you, the communication itself, everything is around that imagery. So what made it come together? What made it actually come to this point that saying that this is what we want?
Um, I think this is we have to go back on the roots of how the brand started. I think uh, back in 2015, and at least before that, beards were almost like a taboo in the workplace or in a lot of places. Yeah, where clean shaven is like a right. And to sport a beard or to even think of growing one is an act of rebellion. And that is, and the brand is Beardo. I mean, having a beard is a part of it, right? So it became like a symbolism of that sporting a beard is wanting to be, is an expression of self. When I do it for myself, and this is who I am, this is how I want to be perceived, and whatnot. So I think that whole rebellion against not conforming to norms, societal norms of what others say and what they expect of me. I think that was the beginning of how the appeal started, and we just continued. I think after that, we'll do in all fashions. I think in all forms. Uh, it started off with the beard, and then the kind of person that is there, and the kind of power and charisma that they command in a room. I think that is what I think is the desirable traits of the prime beard.
So there is this, what you say is correct. So it is an act of rebellion. But you're talking about grooming, which is seeming to be opposite of rebellion in one way. You don't leave it unruffled. It has to be kind of well done. To there's this mix of two things that you're bringing together in your brand, isn't there?
Correct. So I think we've evolved as a brand as well. I think the last year, I think we had a campaign called Shan Ki Dadi. So back in 2015, 2016, growing a beard was an act of rebellion. But now everyone seems to be sporting it. So there is no more rebellion. What are the rebelling against? There is no, it's like a rebellion without a cause of sorts. So I think now we were sort of evolved it to say that now, everyone can sport a, or just grow whatever is passes off as a beard, but sporting a really groomed one or a Shan Ki Dadi is the epitome of what how a peak human male behavior should look like. So I think we've also sort of evolved and sort of changed up with the times that okay, what seems to have worked, we need to sort of change the narrative a little bit or evolve it to still maintain true to what we are, but also evolve with the times. So I think that's the changes.
Right. So beards, of course, are as different or as complex as hairstyle. I mean, it doesn't matter. You can leave it, you can comb it. You have different types. So you must be keeping in touch with the latest and upcoming trends in the beard styles, and not just beardo. You've got men's grooming styles, but beardo because it's the name. I'm saying. So what do you do in order to be abreast of what the next generation is coming up with? Because the styles are not going to remain the same.
Correct. So I think being in constant touch with your consumers, I think is essential to I think any brand now. Be it via social listening or being in. So what is trending right now in terms of information being consumed, or what is the kind of style steering towards? What are the next possible trends? Where is my audience influenced? Are they influenced by the West? Are they influenced by Korea? Are they influenced by some other country altogether? Are there trends that, maybe it's pop culture, maybe it is music, maybe it's so many, or movies, it could be so many different things. Having a finger on that pulse, I think, is critical. And which is, I mean, we try to do our best there in all different formats. I think what we take information in whatever form it comes in, whether be it doom scrolling on Instagram or keep pulling on the latest shorts or read up on article, be a lot of different things, or just while there is this source of information of what is the next big thing, I think being very close to your consumer community is what makes a lot of difference. We try and keep that channel open. There's a lot of interaction that happens on our Instagram handle. A lot of DMs coming in. We keep chatting with people, and then even my team as well. We keep calling our consumers to say that, hey, listen, this is you. You bought this. What do you like about it? Why do you want to
Testing and all.
yeah, we do a lot of testing. We also do sometimes we also engage in some sort of research where we meet our consumers to say let's meet. Like, why do you prefer Beardo? Like, let's forget the product. I'm sure the product is great and everything else, but you trusted, you place your trust in the brand Beardo. what made you choose. Like, so I think once you get this, there are elements to say that this is the reason why we chose this brand. We chose this brand because you appeal to us, the kind of imagery, the whatever else. Was what we found is the individual products may or may not land, but the brand always land. That okay, Beardo. I have an association of what Beardo is. This is my expectation in terms of their products or whatever their content, everything else. So I think that keeping a pulse, is important.
So, a beard sporter is a beard sporter for life, more or less.
Hopefully, yeah.
So he gets kind of into this brand and he stays for life. That mostly rare occasions when he gets out. I mean, it will not be very often unless somebody loved tells them don't remove. I mean, to remove their beard or something like that.
Yeah.
Usually becomes a part of the look, I guess.
So I think one, you you do it, and then once you sport a beard and you see how you actually look at it, and if it makes you feel a certain way, then it's very hard to let go. You're not going to change habits or change a certain way or so on. But I think that brand Beardo, I think maybe beard is just a possibly an entry point. We have such a large portfolio categories across skin, hair, beard, personal care appliances.
How many SKUs would he have now?
300 plus, I think.
Oh, does the name kind of limit the imagery? Unfortunately, even the questioning, it kind of automatically leads to one more beard question, unfortunately. But I'm saying, thank you for correcting me there. So I'm just saying, from that point of view, is it not a limiting name?
We thought this might be the case when we started off initially. I think we started off with hair, with beard as a category. Then we moved into hairstyling, with hairstyling products, which also were well received by our audience. And then we did skincare and then fragrances. I think every time we've entered into categories where we have no right to. I mean, necessarily Beardo, when you start with fragrances, it's unrelated. You wouldn't think from the name, but we are possibly one of the top few
You're
brands.
I'm telling you, it's impossible to come into our list in such a crowded space. You're on a list, something is happening with the consumer's mind. I mean, I'm sure you're impacting it.
Yeah, I think we're probably what, number 2, possibly online as one of the bigger perfume.
In terms of sales,
Online, on e-commerce. Right. Yeah. So I think I think we're doing something right.
yeah,
I mean, doing a lot of things right to be able to make that, and it's hardly been what 4 years since we got into this category. So, but I think we've done a couple of things. I mean, when we got into the category, we've stayed true to it, and despite what trends are, we have not jumped onto we are a copy of a designer fragrance, or we are a cheaper version of a different brand. That's not that we've stayed away very clearly. It seems like a low hanging fruit where every brand every new DTC brand seems to be doing that. That we are the more affordable creative enters, we're the most affordable another designer fragrance. We stayed away from it, and it's a conscious call that you know let's be original, right? And there are enough duplicates in the market. I think that maybe is the reasons that consumers find it appealing, that they're doing something uniqueness, some uniqueness.
Beardo is a brand that sits in a family that's a large family, old family, the Baracco family. Do you tend to find yourself in some ways not having the same kind of a, let's say, bandwidth as the other brands do within the same, the family of brands that you have?
Uh, so Beardo is wholly owned by Marico, but I think a lot of our operations is pretty independent. We are still an independent. We operate pretty much independently.
You like to be like
That was an intentional call. I think I'm glad because I've been there since the acquisition as well. So I work with the founders, and I work with the Marico team doing the whole transition. So I've seen it, and I honestly think that was a great move. That while there is everything else that comes with a large FMCG like Marico, like the benefit, the cushion, the
distribution.
yes, a lot of benefits. What worked well for brand Beardo to get to where it was, I think we've kept that intact. So that let it operate independently on be it our hiring, the kind of people that we work with, how quickly we have launches, a lot of different things. I think we still operate pretty independently, and that is definitely a better place to be.
I'm sure. This question is about desirability, and perhaps we'll end with this question. I'm saying, So desirability has become the primary factor now with the new age of generations coming on. And it's not desirability in terms of how I look alone. It's about what I do, what I would desire for myself, my own career paths, everything. And they're not like my generation, or not even like yours. They're completely new. It's difficult to fathom. And this generation sits down and looks at desire as a part of fulfilling their innermost, kind of, let's say, whatever they have felt through the ages, through their whatever has made them so far. So, what is the next horizon of desirability for Beardo as a brand with all its portfolio? What do you think?
I think what we we should definitely crack is understanding it's a top audience. The newest, latest. Our TG is a very top audience sort of. Um, I think there's it's a dichotomy there. They're pretty confident about who they are and how they feel, and they're free to express. But there's also a need for validation, be it validation on Instagram, validation among their peers. I think the difference in possibly the generations is earlier it used to be we want to fit in. We don't, so that we use personal care, etc., to fit in with the crowd. Whereas now it is we want to stand out, have our unique identity. I think, and if we crack the code on how we can still be unique for every person, uh, and help them to sort of meet their needs or whatever that they are seeking from personal care, right? To sort of stand out and still fit in with their peer group and social validation. I think if we crack the code on what it is that they want and how we as a brand are there.
I believe their language is different. So, do you understand their language?
I've been trying, but I get by. I think have a very young team, and I learn a lot every day. I think with my interactions with that.
Lovely. Pleasure. Pleasure. Thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate this. Thank you. I thank Preetham Srinivas, marketing lead Beardo, for sharing his perspective so candidly. Conversation like these help decode what building a brand really looks like beyond the frameworks and the headlines, the trade-offs and the choices, and the consistency that's required over time. Stay with this channel for more such conversations. Till the next episode, this is Chandramouli signing off. Stay inspired, stay curious.